Stand by. Go.
And we are underway for 18.3. We will start things off with 100 double unders.
Well, we got some time, and 18-1 was just a lot of grunt work. It wasn't fun to do. 18-2 was stressful. 18-3 was just hard and heavy. And now I look at Dave. Just when you couldn't do anything more dumb, you go and do something like this. And totally redeem yourself. I love this workout. This is a workout I've been waiting for. You got everything underneath the sun, hundreds upon hundreds of double unders, bar muscle ups, ring. I mean, we're throwing everything at these guys. And when you look at the level of athletes across the board, when you're trying to find the fittest in the world, this is a workout that they love to do. This is going to be a fun event.
Now Casper Bauer and Neil Maddox move to the barbell at the same time as Maddox will get the barbell up first. These athletes have to complete 928 total reps if they're going to finish this thing within the 14-minute cap. That's 464 reps per round.
I just think of the total. I mean, that is a lot. Obviously, 400 of those reps are going to the double unders, and it is 2 rounds for time. So when you first look at this event, what should jump off the page, other than the hundreds of double unders that you have to do, is the simplicity of these movements that are weighted. An overhead squat for 20 reps at 115 and 80 is not necessarily, well, it's not. It's not a difficult move to do for that amount of reps at that kind of weight for these athletes. And then you look at the dumbbell snatches, 50 and 35 again. Fantastic. It's only 20. I'm good to go. But you go to the rings, and you go to the bar, and you put 12 out there, and that is where Dave starts to bait you.
Saw Kyle Casper stumble there, but first of all, when you go through this, Chase, what's going to get someone through this workout? What do you have to do to approach this?
Well, when you're looking at this, there's a lot of different ways you can kind of slice this up to fit your scheme. But you're talking about 2 rounds for time, 14 minutes. You don't have to go fast to get a time. Not many people will, but you need to be perfect. You don't have to be fast. And when you look at these movements, 800 total double unders even if you get to the second round. 40 overhead squats, dumbbell snatches, and couple that with 24 ring and bar muscle ups. It's just going to blow your shoulders up. And now the biggest part here is once you start getting to the rings, as Maddox is that don't muscle through these things. Be efficient in your movement, and don't go to failure this early in the workout.
Maddox, so they slight lead over Casper Bauer, got to the ring muscle ups at about 228. As he has a slight lead, about a rep. You will see across the top the rep count for Neil Maddox on the right, Cal Casper Bauer, the blue shorts on the left. And as you've mentioned already with the double unders, the movement's not terrible as far as the barbell and the dumbbell, but the fact that you're going right out of the gates in a fatigue state with the first 100 between every movement. Let's just jack that heart rate up a little bit more.
And that's to where if I gave you a 4th point to think about is just breathe. Double unders aren't hard to do if you know how to do them well. Overhead squats, the bar's not resting on your body. That means it's not sitting on your chest or on the back of your shoulders like we had last week, so you can breathe freely. Dumbbell snatches the same way. Even with the muscle ups, you got to learn how to breathe in the movement, because if you get that heart rate up, it will not come down on double unders if you do not know how to breathe and relax.
Chase is second while we were early here at 18.3, just a little over 3.5 minutes into a potential 14-minute time cap, which is going to be for most people at the affiliates. I want to talk about the regular CrossFitter at your affiliate doing 18.3. I really love this event. Most people can get the 100 double unders. The 20 overhead squats, most people, say myself, used to 95 pounds. 115 doable, a little bit heavier. Another 100 double unders. But then there is the chance. How many people are going to get that first muscle up? And I love the scale division that you can go to games.crossfit.com and get the information on. They didn't make it so low that you can't get a PR. We're going to see a lot of scaled athletes get that first pull-up.
Yes, and that's what I love to see. We haven't seen ring muscle-ups in 3 years. And if you're an average CrossFitter, maybe you have a couple or you're trying to get your first one, that's the biggest part of the workout for you to do. I love that they put pull-ups in there. Just because it's scaled does not mean we need to make it easy. We need to challenge athletes on all levels. 3 years ago, they had ring muscle-ups to start an event, and they just completely took out any type of pulling movement. It went wall balls and double unders back to back. So I really love the challenge that your games athletes are getting in total volume of work. But then I love the challenge that, our average, run-of-the-mill, why we do the open athletes are getting with these pull-ups.
Well, as a coach, you try to get athletes to try to push themselves. And no longer can you go, I'm just going to do some ring rows or jumping pull-ups. I'm not really even going to try that movement. Now you're going to have to force yourself to get out of the comfort zone.
I tell athletes all the time, there's going to be a day that you're going to have to take the training wheels off. You got to get out of your comfort zone. Here's the deal. You have to suck at CrossFit to get better at CrossFit. So if you never want to put yourself out there, then you're going to stay in your comfort zone corner for the rest of your life. Of course, that's not why we signed up to do CrossFit to begin with. I didn't go through all this pain and anguish to be average.
Absolutely. Boy, that was a great on those dumbbell snatches. Kyle and Neil could have been on a team with those synchro dumbbell snatches. Back into the double unders. Oh, this is just the reps of the 301 through 400 double unders they have to do each round.
And now I start looking at time splits. When it said 2 rounds for time, everyone's like, oh, how fast am I going to be able to go? Well, it's a 14-minute cap. There's the biggest hurdle for a lot of these athletes if they do want to try to finish this. You have to at least finish the first round in under 7 minutes. And when you're looking at the math-wise, you're giving them about a minute per set of 100 double unders, and that's if they go unbroken. And then you throw out 45 seconds per for the other reps. There's, like I said before, you don't have to be fast, but you have to be perfect. Because if you try to get a time by going out fast, you will not survive the second round of this event.
Well, Neil Maddox took a little bit of a break that allowed Kyle Kasperbauer to really close the gap on the double unders. Down just a 6-rep difference before these two athletes are going to get on that pull-up bar and begin their bar muscle-ups. Again, as always, whether it's the Open, the regionals, or the games, you'll watch for the judges' hands. That means 5 reps or fewer. And Kyle Kasperbauer, Neil Maddox, neck and neck.
Well, look at their jump rope side by side as Neil Maddox is very relaxed. And them's finishing neck and neck up until this point. Right? With the top athletes, if you're going unbroken and smooth, maybe a break, you're going to stay next to each other throughout the first round.
Halfway through, again, a 14-minute time cap. We just passed 7 minutes. And Chase, as you mentioned, you got to be perfect. Don't have to be fast, but perfect, because we've not even completed the first round and you're past the halfway point.
Yeah, and you're probably looking at it as like, oh, they're close. They're only about 7:20, 7:30 when they get done. Maybe they have a chance. No shot. There's no way you're going to get through the second half of this event faster. And it's not because of the muscle-ups or the barbell or the dumbbell. It is the next set of 400 double unders awaiting in the background. What I want to see when we get through these bar muscle-ups is watch the difference between Kyle Kasperbauer, who's on the left, and Neil Maddox is on the right, because they were jumping very hard to get those reps in.
Neil Maddox goes unbroken. Kasperbauer had to break, so Maddox is done with the first round in about 7:49. That's one of the best in the world. Again, second in a 35 to 39-year-old division, multiple-time games athlete at about 7:50 on that first round. And Quigley, here's where he can eat up some reps on these 100 double unders.
And one thing I'm going to look at with these athletes is look at their face. Right? Are they relaxed? Are they trying to breathe? Or are they just trying not to miss on a double under, right? We had Neil Maddox just take a break to the right. And Kasperbauer, he looks good, but you can see as he gets deeper into these sets, he stops bouncing off the floor and he starts to jump. When you think about the differences, is that jumping off the floor means you're landing and leaping. Bouncing off the floor means you're trying to stay in the air. When you get tired doing double unders, you got to keep bouncing.
And if you're fresh, Chase, you wouldn't think the rep scheme for the squats, the muscle-ups, the snatches, and the bar muscle-ups would be that big of a deal. But you're under fatigue. 20 is a whole lot of overhead squats at 115. 12 ring muscle-ups, especially if you're not proficient in them yet. It's going to be a lot. Oh, yeah, 20 more dumbbell snatches and then the bar muscle-ups. That's a lot of reps under that much fatigue.
And what did I say the difference between round 1 and round 2? We're 2 minutes in after the halfway point of 7 minutes. And both of these athletes have broken more time in the first 75 reps than they did in the first 400. If you don't get it, right? If you're watching this and just looking at the movements between the double unders, it's about the rope. And it's the next round of double unders that is just going to break people off unless they can stay smooth and relaxed.
Neil Maddox moving to the overhead squats. He has 20 at 115 pounds, 564 reps into 928. And again, as we have mentioned, we think pretty good bet. Very few are going to make that time cap. But Maddox now, we'll see how these overhead squats look through the second round. And right now, Maddox looks pretty proficient. We can expect an athlete of his caliber not to have too much trouble with this.
Oh, I mean, Neil Maddox is one of those guys that puts 115 over his head and he looks up to make sure it's not a PVC pipe.
Right.
That's the type of guy Neil Maddox is. You see a Kasperbauer on the left is getting a little out of position. One thing you want to tell your athletes is that you don't need to make up time if it's only 20 squats. You don't need to go fast. But at the same time, you don't want to hold that bar over your head any longer than you need to. It's going to be this set of double unders when they get back to it. That's how fast Kasperbauer was to catch up to Maddox, as he was behind by about 15 seconds.
And the mistake you can make, and you can speak to this on overhead squats, you would snatch that barbell up or jerk it off the front or the back rack. If you start going too fast before you're in good position, you're just going to lose the barbell.
Overhead squats are one of those that has a sweet spot, right? You want to stack it over the shoulders, keep the wrists above the ankles as you go down. As you get fatigued, and we said it's about the shoulders, double unders are going to suck the life out of your shoulders, let alone your lungs and your heart rate. But let's not forget our legs, right? The double unders. Don't look at all the bells and whistles. Oh, ring muscle-ups, bar muscle-ups. What about the dumbbell? It's the double unders. Watch out for these things.
Several breaks for Kasperbauer. We've got 3 minutes remaining before the 14-minute time cap. Kasperbauer breaks a few times on the overhead squats, but Maddox consistently has kind of had to break on those double unders, and that has always allowed Kyle to make up some ground. Now, 35 reps behind when you're on double unders, that can be made up relatively quickly.
We're seeing a lot of the universal resting position for these two athletes, and that's when you break, you put your hands on your knees, look it up the clock, and you're like, oh man, there's still 3 minutes left. You know, as they work into their second set of 200 double unders, when you think about in terms of when to push and when to kind of back off, when I give you 100 reps that could be completed in less than 60 seconds, you're going to have to suck it up if you can, because you're not going to probably get to the last set. If you got an opportunity to knock out 100 reps at this, there's more bang for your buck on the rope. So they're taking some breaks. I can't exactly say I know how this is going to feel at this point in time, but I know that definitely is I'm going to put all my effort in the easiest reps of the workout.
Just over 2 minutes remaining before that 14-minute time cap. And again, Neil Maddox with about a 32 to 33 rep lead. Again, Maddox is over 670 reps. To finish this, you have to complete 928 total reps. Maddox nearly done with the double unders on the right, and Neil Maddox will make his way back to the rig. Kasperbauer, another big break behind Maddox, but Maddox will take a look at it as that's a look, as you mentioned, Chase, a lot of us will have as we're getting close to 90 seconds remaining. And if you are just an affiliate going to do this, you better hope it's a good double under day and a good muscle up day.
Well, I think one thing to really trust in yourself is when you get done with your double unders and back to the rings is that the feeling you have after the second set of double unders could scare you out of going big on the muscle-ups. But when it's this close to the end, right, you still don't want to go to failure. What I say is don't muscle through this if you don't have to. Right? But get through the muscle-ups, the incentive at the end, right? We have less than just over a minute left. You have an opportunity to go to a rope where you can just churn out reps.
Don't forget, as we heard earlier, Rossi donating $2 per rep here tonight. And Maddox already at 690, Kasperbauer right behind him at 684. So log those reps for the Hurricane Harvey relief effort. Less than a minute remaining. Again, 40 seconds as Kasperbauer trying to make up some ground on Maddox. "30 seconds left here at Skyline CrossFit in Houston, Texas. Remaining at 18.3. Kasperbauer, can he catch Neil Maddox? 20 seconds, not a lot of time, and it looks like Neil Maddox may take it. He's going to get back on the double under. There's a chance to eat up a lot of reps here if he'll go. Don't put the jump rope down. Only 10 seconds remaining. And Neil Maddox, who's moving up in a division, is going to take 18.3. What a